international gun lobby that even Vice President Kamala Harris has just now tweeted out, Srinjoy, going across to Pradeep as well. And Pradeep, reading out from that tweet from Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, saying that enough is enough. As a nation, we must have the courage to take action and prevent this from even happening again. This is long past for our country to stand up to the gun lobby and pass reasonable gun safety laws. So even the Vice President of the country talks about the gun lobby, Pradeep, that we have been speaking about here as well.
Yes, there's an obvious reason for concern by the Kamala Harris and many other people in the United States of America, as Rinja was rightly talking about, how these guns are easily available and there is no norm and to right now check and control sale of guns and see easily how they are falling into the hands of these teenagers like Salvador Ramos, and how he got the gun. He in fact sent a message in this regard to one of the girls, saying that today he is going to reveal a secret and he is going to do something. And he said, now on this, the girl responded that I don't know you much, but this is really scary. So reason is that, as my friend from the United States of America was also talking about, there is one organization called National Rifle Association that was founded in 1871. Basically, these are two war veterans. They founded this organization. Idea was to promote shooting on scientific basis. But over the period of time, this National Rifle Association has become so stronger that every year they're spending about $250 million. They are lobbying, they are preventing from getting any laws to regulate sale of guns and easy access to people in that area, because they had been every time they had been using the Second Amendment of the Constitution, which says that each and every American has right to carry weapons.
Pradeep, we are getting more information. Rather, this gunman who is concerned, Gurmeet, is back with us right now. So, Gurmeet, you were actually giving out the information of who this individual is, his identity, and as far as his motive is concerned.
Yes, as I was telling you earlier, that he's been identified as Salvador Ramos, who's also a high school student, as you know, from the nearby high school. And they don't know if he was targeting the school or he happened to stumble upon there and he did the shooting. But it has been known that now it has been confirmed he went from classroom to classroom shooting gunfire at just open fires at the kids over there. And he had crossed over the barricade. And of course, I'm sure you also know this, the U.S. Border Patrol agents that were nearby also ran to the scene. And one of the agents went ahead and was in between him and the shooting of the kids and tried to stop the assailant as much as he could. And he's the one who got shot, and he's the one who shot the guy who was the perpetrator who was doing the shootings, Salvador Ramos. So all these things are still unfolding and coming up. And the gunman seemed to have appeared in a crashed pickup truck, and he went through the barrier at the school before heading inside.
In fact, Gurmeet, more and more information that we have been gathering about this shooter who has now been killed. In his Instagram account, Gurmeet, just a few days back, he posted images of weapons days before the school massacre. This means, and as you were pointing out, he apparently also gifted himself this gun after he turned 18?
That's what the reports are coming out, that he gifted this to himself as a happy birthday gift, as he called it on one of his posts or something that's been posted. But he gifted these to himself, and his first act after that was to go and do the shootings at the school with it. That was his first act with his birthday gift, is what he had proclaimed to do. And he had also posted on his social media that beware, there's going to be a shooting, or messages of such sort, letting people know that there is a shooting that's going to be happening. So he had also posted things of such sort on his social media accounts. It's coming out now.
Right. So there were red flags already, Gurmeet, but timely identifying all of those red flags weren't done, and that led to this terrifying shooting incident that has been reported in Texas. But usually, Gurmeet, such kind of attacks are said to be lone wolf attacks. Any sort of an accomplices or something that is also coming across information?
Nothing so far. It seems to be just he was acting alone by himself. He didn't have anyone else partaking in his plans or anything. And by the way, the death toll now has risen to 19 students and 2 adults now. So we had 18 up to a little while ago. So now they're saying their death toll of 19 people, 19 students. So, and of course, since it's an elementary school, they're all little kids. So the toll still stands pretty high, a total of 21 so far. But to answer your question, no, it seems like he was acting by himself. No accomplices, no one helping him with this.
And Gurmeet, there is also some information that we have been reading to reports that this is an area that predominantly has the Hispanic population and also people from lower income groups. So this is also a possible angle they might be looking at?
You know what? Yes, I'm seeing that posted also. It's mostly Latino community over there, Latino and Hispanic community. So that's also, that's also a concern because, as you know, not too long ago, recently, there was a shooting of solely targeted towards African Americans. So that had happened at the grocery store recently. So this just seems like, another minority community that has been targeted at random. So does this raise red flags? I think it raises a lot of red flags with all the things that are going on with the gun shootings around it. If you see, they're happening mostly in minority areas, in Black neighborhoods. So, it really definitely makes you wonder who is being targeted for what here.
Right. As far as the injuries are concerned, Gurmeet, can you share any information?
Well, as of right now, as I told you, they have now reported that 19 people have, the death toll, 19 students have died, two adults have been shot, but they have not released any information about the students because they're all minors right now. So their information has not been released. But from what I also understood, how many people are injured, it's still unclear because so many people were taken to the hospital. Some are in critical, some are in stable condition. So we're still waiting for more information to come through on those.
And Gurmeet, as you are yourself staying there for many years now, in the past, this year itself, we have seen several such mass shooting incidents being reported, once again putting the spotlight back on the gun lobby as well as the easy access to guns. And this is what the president and the vice president themselves have spoken about.
Absolutely. And, I think our administration has to take a stronger stance against the NRA laws here because the NRA association is so strong. The gun lobbying here is so strong that it's becoming more and more of a concern. And the problem is actually the guns that are being available to average citizen, they're not your regular small handheld pistols. These are Army-style assault rifles. The way they can shoot, I just wonder, for your own protection, I can understand Second Amendment right. For your own protection, you can bear arms, but at what length? Why does someone need semi-automatic guns to be held in their houses? What are they planning to shoot with it? So I think that's a big question mark that our gun lobbying here is so strong. I think there has to be some changes to come down the pipeline because this takes you back to 2012 when there were kids killed in Connecticut elementary school, kids as little as 6 years old. It's unimaginable to even think that what would somebody want to kill little kids for? And here we are again at another elementary school. So right. I think our administration has to take a stand on this.
No, but that's the point there, Gurmeet, because we were just going through the research and this year alone, we're looking at multiple cases. It's just not even 6 months into 2022. And the cases have been on the rise in the US. And you've been talking about how many years really have passed. But is there really a change on ground that has been witnessed? Our shooting incidents continue to take place. There is grieving for a brief period. Then everything is fine. Then another incident takes place.
Exactly. And you know what? That's the sad part that and if you take a look at it, if you're just taking a look at the history of this and happening in last 12 months alone, not even 6 months, if you take a look at the trend of 12 months itself, you don't hear about isolated incidents that, okay, 2 people are shot here, 2 people are shot there. You hear of mass shootings where it's like 10 people, 12 people, it's happening at a bigger scale. And recently you heard about the Brooklyn incident also. So things are just on a rampage. And just a quick update, I'm sorry to come back to you. Sure. There's just a release that just came out that at least of the people that were shot and killed, at least children, a 9-year-old and 2 10-year-olds are in critical condition who are still in the hospital. This report just came out right now. So 3 children, a 9-year-old and 2 10-year-olds are in critical condition from today's shooting. So, yeah, absolutely. The shootings have been on a very big rise here if you take a look at the scales.
Absolutely. And we have been doing some research as well, Gurmeet, where once again it has been highlighted by the CDC last month that in the past 2 years since the pandemic began post-COVID, the gun violence and access to guns has also increased. Incidents of deaths have also increased, which has also been confirmed from the FBI, specifically talking about in the just 2 years back and in the past 2 years. So certainly the access has not gone down as far as United States is concerned.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. The availability of these guns is really what's scary also, because if you take a look at it, this is a 18-year-old out there buying a birthday gift for himself for a gun. I mean, what do what does a normal 18-year-old think of going and buying for a birthday gift? Not guns. But these are the things that are becoming so readily available. And if you also see the pockets and areas of where this is happening, it's like, in the Midwest or down south, that's where you see a lot of these trends happening with young kids.
But Gurmeet, why are we looking at, schools in particular being targeted? Because how vulnerable are these schools? Mass shooting incidents that have taken place, majority have been in and around schools that have taken place.
Well, that's a great question, right? So let me ask you, if you're going to go out in the street and start shooting, chances are there are cops in the area. Chances are, someone, it might have another weapon to shoot back. You go to a school and you do a shooting. Yes, that's a stronger message that goes out. These shooters that are going out there, they're not going out there to do something where no one hears about it. It's quiet. They're doing this to glorify themselves as well. You go into a school, there's no one shooting back at you. These are kids, teachers, they're not armed over there. They're not going to be fighting you back. So easily, you're going to be able to kill as many people as you can. And these people, like I said, are glorifying themselves. The more shootings you have, the bigger they're making themselves look on social media. At the end of the day, yeah, are they getting shot? Are they getting killed? Are they getting caught? Yes, they are. But if this is in their sick minds, these are their legacies that they're leaving behind. That's the sad part.
And stay with us, Gurmeet, requesting you to stay with us. We'll play out a reaction now coming in from the governor himself, who has given a lowdown of the entire incident.
I want to tell you that what happened in Uvalde is a horrific tragedy that cannot be tolerated in the state of Texas. And there is swift action being taken by local law enforcement as well as the Texas Department of Public Safety. They obviously now know who the shooter was, and the shooter is no longer alive. Let me give you some details, and then I'll give you a summation about that. The shooter was Salvador Romas, an 18-year-old male who resided in Uvalde. It's believed that he abandoned his vehicle and entered into the Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun, and he may have also had a rifle, but that is not yet confirmed according to my most recent report. He shot and killed horrifically, incomprehensibly, 14 students and killed a teacher. Mr. Romas, the shooter, he himself is deceased.
I just first want to begin by saying a few words about the tragedy that occurred today in Uvalde, Texas. As many of you know, the reports are that it was a mass shooting at an elementary school, and the preliminary reports are that 14 children have been killed. And the details are still coming in, and of course the President and I are monitoring the situation closely. So while we don't know all the details yet, we do know that there are parents who have lost children, families that have lost children, and their loved ones, of course, and many others who may have been injured. So I would normally say in a moment like this, we would all say naturally that our hearts break, but our hearts keep getting broken. I think there's so many elected leaders in this room, you know what I'm talking about. Every time a tragedy like this happens, our hearts break. And our broken hearts are nothing compared to the broken hearts of those families. And yet it keeps happening. So I think we all know and have said many times with each other, enough is enough. Enough is enough. As a nation, we have to have the courage to take action and understand the nexus between what makes for reasonable and sensible public policy to ensure something like this never happens again.
All right. We have been hearing a slew of reactions that are coming in, but Pradeep also is with us right now. Pradeep, it is just not sad, it is sickening. It is pure evil kind of intention when these individuals go to a mass shooting incident and vulnerable schools and children are targeted. 9-year-old, 10-year-olds. We are talking about a grade school, class 2, class 3, class 4 standards. That's the school system that we have in India, but identifying with the school system there in the US, it's children that we are talking about who have now been killed.
Yes, you're absolutely right. This is really heart-wrenching that many of the families are devastated. Their loved ones have been killed. And this is not first time that such incidents have taken place. Many times we have been reporting about such incidents taking place in the United States of America. As I've been saying earlier, there was an incident in Florida in 2018. There was a similar kind of an incident in Connecticut in 2012.
Pradeep, interrupting you once again, apologies for that. We're continuously getting live updates and reactions. Let's play that out.
The beautiful work of God in creating us to His image. And we're going through this now. And families are really, they were not able to say much. They were saying, pray. Could you pray? Could you pray, please? Pray for us. Pray for my child. Pray. That's it.
And that's when you went to visit them at the hospital?
Yes, at the hospital and also at the Civic Center. That's the only thing that they are in shock. But it is because it's hard to believe that a little one, and we have some tonight here, as a reminder that how they will cause harm. But it's hard to figure out, it is. But what we are doing in prayer, and many other groups and many other groups of people of goodwill are supporting one another at this time with the hope that our strength will carry somebody through in some way. I don't know how, and there are many ways, and we can be very creative, but we need to carry each other forward. And we leaders, and I include myself, this is an examination of conscience. What have not we done to build up humanity? No towers, no buildings, not spectacular things, no Disneylands. We need to build up people's lives, families, marriages, relationships, humanity.
Take me through tonight's service. How does that change or been different for you?
Well, to know that many people, we put together this a couple of hours before the celebration of the Mass, but people are expressing in prayer with tears. One person who went to meet me at the altar said, I transported the children from the school to the hospital. You can imagine the impressions that she has. She didn't share them with me tonight. But we need to give opportunities to people. This is one of many. This will be multiplied. We're going to have counselors here and food and people they need, the families. They need finances. They need something about housing. We're going to help in any way possible. But the point is, are we willing to stand and place people first.
Would you say that's the main message in tonight's service?
Oh, I think so.
All right, going across to Gurmeet Sori, who once again joins us live on this broadcast. And Gurmeet, we have been getting so many reactions coming in from parents, from the localites there. Barack Obama, the former US president, has also now tweeted out saying that how he is angry for all those parents as well as those children who are now scared to go back to schools. He says that our country is paralyzed not by fear but by a gun lobby and a political party that have shown no willingness whatsoever to act in any way that might help to prevent these tragedies.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's really sad. He's 100% right. And, you know, it's the political parties because of which this whole thing is divided. And there's such a big chasm between the differences of what's going on here. And to point out another fact, of course, today was the first day of the primary elections in Texas. People were out there going to vote. So, you know, this, like he said, things do play out inadvertently in one way or the other. So people are out there going out to vote, getting the primary election started. And here you have it, the first day of the elections, first date out there. And this is what we have. So it's unimaginable. And I'm sure, especially for President Barack Obama, because in 2012, when it happened in Sandy Hook, he was the president back then, which was the biggest school children shooting massacre that had happened. And here's now another one. So I cannot imagine. And the sad part you keep thinking about more and more is for parents, like you said, there are so many messages coming out from different people. You're hearing from, you know, relatives. Of course, parents haven't come out and spoken yet, but you hear from relatives. How scary is it to think that you're letting your little children go to school in the morning? What's going to happen? What's going to happen to one place, safe haven place for them?
Absolutely,
this is what's
because that very thought is terrifying, Gurmeet. But for the benefit of our viewers here back in India and elsewhere around the world that they're watching us right now, just a basic understanding of the US gun culture and the strong lobby that it has as far as easy access to weapons is concerned. Just can you briefly tell us how easy it is to access weapons in the US? What needs to be done?
Well, let me just say how easy it sometimes to go buy a bottle of Coke, okay, or a bottle of soda outside, or, you know, a bottle of juice outside. In some states, it's that easy. It's that easy to go and buy a gun. And FBI have reported, this is just another statistics to share, to show where we are standing today. FBI had released a data showing that 61 active shooter attacks in 2021 have killed at least 103 people and injured 130 people. This is the highest annual total since 2013. There have been so far, we're only five months into the year, and there have been 61 active shooter attacks into that 2021. And already, look at the numbers that we're surpassing.
Absolutely,
that
Gurmeet.
itself should tell you.
And in fact, we have been sharing more and more data with our viewers as well. And one data also shares how the number of people and soldiers in America who have died in a decade or so is much less than how they have died by gun violence. This once again shows us an image of the access being given, because here we are talking about a semi-automatic rifle he was carrying. These are sophisticated weapons that are only available to certain forces in the rest of the part of the world, which is given easy access to an 18-year-old.
Exactly. And you know what? And of course, just to correlate things with India's background and us here, it's unheard of in India for an 18-year-old child to be walking around with a semi-automatic and you know, like assault style rifles. Here you go in Midwest, down south, it's such a normal thing. It is such a normal thing for kids to be walking around with this. They can just go into a store. Once you're 18, there's some places that don't ask you. All you have to give is your driver's license to show you're 18, and that's it. You're walking out with a gun. No background checks at all. None whatsoever. So you could be a psychotic person who has mental health issues. You're walking out with a gun. More power to you. This is how they see it, right? You're defending your Second Amendment rights here.
But Gurmeet, not just the gun. I mean, what is being said that this suspected attacker also, drove his vehicle through the barricades, entered with a handgun, a semi-automatic rifle, wearing a body armor. Where exactly do you get access to body armor?
You and me both. Trust me, this is just, the more and more we hear about it, the more and more it seems, it shakes you up to the core. It really shakes you up to the core to make you wonder, these are kids. Literally, he just turned 18. These are still kids walking around, hanging out with your everyday average kids who you think are normal kids doing normal things they're doing. And this is what they end up with. But another thing also it makes me wonder is, if you're seeing someone post pictures of these kind of guns that they own on their Instagram account, and they're posting things like, be careful, there's going to be a shooting, or beware, something's going to happen, would that not raise a red flag? Would that not alert somebody, his friends? How many followers did he have on Instagram? No one thought of saying anything? People who are associated with him, I'm sure he has a following. No,
I think that have been put down now. The social media accounts of this suspected attacker, Gurmeet, we've been trying to check. It's been put down now by the authorities, by the social media accounts there.
It's been put down now, but he had friends, he had followers to whom he was posting this out to. Yes. That means there are like-minded people like him who support these kind of things and who think this is the normal thing to do.
Absolutely, Gurmeet. And according to certain international reports, the local police there in Texas has also reported how the alleged suspected attacker, that is Salvador Ramos, started shooting whoever was in his way. That means that somewhere he was on a rampage. He just shot at whoever he saw in that particular vicinity of this elementary school we are talking about, and also in a way exposing the mentality or the psyche that he was functioning with.
Exactly. That's the scary part. And, like you said, it's a rampage shooting. And it's not that he's standing in the middle of the hallway and just shooting. He went from classroom to classroom and shot people. So, he is there with an agenda to get as many as you can and, kill as many as I can today. Because he knows in the end he's going to get caught. Obviously, he's gone too when he's doing something like this. But the mental health problem, of course, is a whole bigger problem that America has, which is not easily talked about, which is always pushed under the carpet over here as well. But those are the issues that are feeding into these kind of issues now.
Gurmeet, thank you very much for joining us. You've been giving us a lot of information, and how exactly is the situation there when it comes to such kind of institutions, school children that we are talking about, who are now the vulnerable targets of such mass killings. Thank you very much, Gurmeet, for joining us. We'll just play out the parents' reactions too, because many of those parents were out there praying that their child comes back home alive. Many of them are also praying for the safety of those who have been injured.
Keep asking questions of what's going on, and nobody's telling me anything. Nobody's telling me anything. And one of the parents were saying that there's kids possibly held at the funeral home, and that's what brought me over here to find out what's going on. And
were you seeing other kids leaving?
Yes. There's kids there still right now, but my daughter's not there yet.
Okay. And you haven't been able, and you checked in with them, and they didn't know where she was?
No.
And how are you feeling right now?
I guess just confused and worried. I'm trying to find out where my baby's at. So.
But nobody's told you that she's okay or that she's hurt either way?
No, there's a lot of confused parents too, where they don't know where Miss Garcia's at, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Where is she at? I haven't heard anything. I got a call or anything.
And who's Miss Garcia?
Miss Garcia is her teacher.
All right, we'll closely track all the developments coming in from this mass shooting reported in Texas, America. Slipping into a short break, we'll be back with the latest.